In this video I will talk about getting Kaya on Storm Spirit. And the reason I'm making this video is that in many of my games I have been berated by some players who's like, what the fuck Storm, why don't you go Kaya? And so I wanted to make this video where I try to talk why you don't need to go Kaya on Storm Spirit. I'm not saying that Kaya is necessarily a bad item on Storm Spirit, I'm just saying you don't need to get Kaya on Storm Spirit. First of all, I've heard some say that Kaya used to be bugged in Storm Spirit, so it was much better, and then they fixed the bug. I could not verify that, but let's just assume that it used to be bugged, so it used to be very good, and that's maybe one of the reasons that Kaya used to be much better on Storm than it is now. So at that point you probably should always get Kaya, or before it was fixed, but it's fixed now, so Kaya is, I guess, decent on Storm, but I don't really like to get Kaya, and I have gotten it sometimes, but I've actually stopped getting Kaya now on Storm Spirit, and I'm just tired of people saying, what the fuck Storm, no Kaya reported, or something like that, because that actually happens. Alright, first of all, let's say we go Kaya. Well, what it does for Storm Spirit is that it gives you more intelligence, so it gives you more attack damage. And that's very nice in the early game, the laning stage, because as a Storm, the way I'm thinking about the hero now is that if you're farming jungle, you have to use a lot of mana, so you can't really help the team. So I prefer as a Storm to actually be in the lane and just farm the lane, because then I will always have almost full mana, so I can always help the team. If I'm farming the jungle, I will not have full mana, I will have half mana, and for most heroes it's not a problem to have half mana, but for Storm Spirit it's a huge difference if you have 100% mana or if you have like 60 or 70% mana. So that's one of the good things about Kaya, it gives you more damage in the beginning. It also gives you some regen, but not really that much. That's my biggest problem, and that's why I almost always get Bloodstone as the first item on Storm, because mana regen on Storm is just so huge, and with Bloodstone, that's the item that gives you the most mana regen. So that's why I almost always rush Bloodstone. And the thing is with Kaya, alright, if you look at the Dota Gamepedia or whatever, where it's like Kaya, it says you should get Kaya on Storm because it helps you farm faster. And sure, it helps you farm a bit faster because your spells cost a little less and you regen a bit and you have more damage. So it's like, alright, it helps you get better items quicker, but still you have to spend a lot of gold on Kaya, and I think it just takes too long if you get it as first item. I think like it can be okay, but I just prefer getting Bloodstone as quick as possible, because then I will just have so much regen, and there's just huge difference with Storm before Bloodstone and Storm after Bloodstone. So then that's my reason why you don't need to get it first item. And what I like to do sometimes on Storm, if I'm say Storm mid lane, is that I will get Treads first item or pretty quickly, because it doesn't cost that much, and it does increase your damage by 10 intelligence, so it will help in the laning stage. When you get it, you're able to more easily dominate your lane, so you don't have to go jungle. So alright, that's why I don't like to get Kaya as the first item. So what about the second item? Let's say we got our Bloodstone. Alright, can we get a Kaya now? And I used to do that, I used to try to test that. And I don't really like that much anymore, because the thing is that as a second item, usually I want an Orchid, and I want to get it as fast as possible. Because there's also a pretty huge difference between Storm with just a Bloodstone and Storm with a Bloodstone and an Orchid. Because when you get that Orchid, there's just so many more kills you can get, and you just deal so much more damage. So the Orchid is pretty much also like one of the must items. Only the time I don't get Orchid as second item on Storm is if they have some lockdown where I need some defensive item or a second defensive item. So maybe I need a BKB, maybe I need something else. Maybe I need something to dispel silence because they can burst me down. So that's one of the reasons why I might not get Orchid. I might not get it if we already have a lot of silences, and then maybe I'll get Hex instead. So as a second item, I don't really like Kaya either, because I just think there's so many better items. Like either you want offensive item like Orchid, or you actually want an item that can help you survive. And you know, you could say Kaya is an offensive item, but I still think there's better offensive items. So again, I don't think it's bad to get Kaya after Bloodstone. I think that's fine. It does make you jump longer and does make your mana cost less. But I just think there's also so many other great items. And if Kaya doesn't really help you survive much against a silencer, pretty much not at all. So if you're gonna have a same defensive item, Kaya is not a good choice. And now we're in our third item choice, and you know, alright, maybe you can just kill a Kaya because it's your third item and it doesn't cost that much gold. So alright, maybe as a third item, then I might actually go it, but I don't really, because after Orchid, maybe I want to upgrade Orchid, maybe I want Diffusal if they are starting to get hexes or starting to get Orchid. So I just think like, alright, I don't mind if Storm players get Kaya, but listen pop players or listen non-Storm players or whatever, people who think they are good at Storm, or just people who feel entitled to criticize Storm players. You don't need to get Kaya on Storm. It's not an Earthshaker where like you don't get dagger and you're like, what's going on? Like, you don't need Kaya on Storm. That's my basic message.